Hello students, today will we discuss about Jane Austen as a novelist. इन्होंने प्राइड एंड प्रेजुडिस लिखा है, जैन ऑस्टेन ने. Okay. At her death, Jane Austen held no place in English literature. She was rated lower than many contemporaries. Today she securely lodged among the classics, nor does it seem that her night to be there will soon be challenged, but her journey up the hill has been made very much in her own manner. It has been quite uneventful and a little mysterious. We know that she began at the bottom. We find her now very nearly at the top. Jane Austen occupies a prominent place in the history of the art of fiction. Though she was a contemporary of Walter Scott, she is more in line with her in this art than with him. She widened the scope of fiction in almost all its directions. No writer, it may be presumed, is so conscious of her limitations as Jane Austen. Never does he feel the temptation of essaying beyond her range. The result is nothing short of perfections. This evident by such epithets as 2 inches of ivory or noddy word employed by the cities to indicate the perfection aimed by her in the small world of the country. Okay. First हमारा her outlook. Jane Austen was not a Victorian, nor can she be regarded as a herald of the coming age. When she looked back, it was mainly to the tradition of Anne Vernon. But she was the kind of person who seldom glanced to past or future. Her was chiefly the outlook of her present tense, like her own Miss Bates, but with a different signification. She might have said, "What is before me, I see." This gives to her act a certain scenic quality. Next, plot construction. The completely sure of material and undistracted by external events and interests. She writes with a singular freedom from uncertainty. She possesses one rich talent of the artist in the evidence. Over her material, and her novels have to consequence and exactness of structure and a symmetry at form, which are found more often in French literature. There is usually a triangle of emotions of which her plots are made. The essential of her art are often the same well-defined story growing naturally out of the influence of character on the character and developed in the midst of society, which is full of mild provincial humor. Next is her characterization. By the magic of her art, Jane Austen has transformed the commonplace person to real life into interesting creatures. Her characters are real, lived, and lifelike. Her leading characters are always in the process of development, and therefore they are dynamic and round rather than flat. They are internal and fresh because they have a life of their own. She never repeats her characters and never idealizes. She has a remarkable understanding of human nature and can penetrate to the spring of the action. The result is that her characters are not flat, vague, or false by psychological convention. There is no wonder then that she has often been compared to Shakespeare in the art of characterization. Next is specialized in happiness. In every book, Jane Austen shows the some willingness to appreciate the good things of life. Others might consider it their business to study human sorrow. She specialized in happiness. In Manifested Park, she wrote, "Let other pens dwell on guilt and misery. I quite such odious subjects as soon as I can impatient to restore everybody not greatly in fault themselves, to tolerate comfort and to have done with all the rest." It is quite possible to condemn such an attendance on the score of superficiality. Can we imagine what George Eliot would have said to it? But nobody could endure to live forever with George Eliot. Surely in this great world of our and in the affections of large hybrid people, these is room for both types. It is a fine and brave thing to comfort like George Eliot. Next, her realism. Jane Austen and realist. The world of her novel is real and interesting, very much like her own. She has painted only these species which she has herself seen. Heroes and heroines fall in the love and are married, as well fall in love and are married. No unexpected good or ill fortunes of chances happen to prevent or bring out the happy results. She has described such people as we meet together every day in every respectable house in London. She relates such incidents as probably have happened to half the families in England, whether we consider Fanny's visit to her parents' home or Darcy's proposal to Elizabeth or the marriage of Emma with her lover, or such trivial incidents as a tea party, an evening walk, or a ball. We are struck by Jane Austen's fidelity to life. She has painted the surface of English life with the meticulous and the Dutch accuracy. Next, prose style. Finally, her prose an aggregate of all these qualities, which were highly prized by the classical age, the qualities of precision, exactness, and truth. The temper of the 20th century, which seeks a conscious revival of these classical graces, has been unsparing in the praise of the prose style of Jane Austen. In fact, considerably because of her style, she considered to be the fine flower of the 18th century. She describes the minor shades and the psychological involvements primarily because of a forceful style, and fulfills the idea of what was thought but never so well expressed. Last conclusion. Literature, we are told, should teach us to enjoy life or endure. It may be that the moments of joy are geared preparation for the hours of endurance. In that sense, Jane Austen will surely be admitted as a cultivator of both joy and endurance. Though her books are restful companions, their influence nothing drowsy or listless. The tranquility of some people is extremely vacant and bloodless. It gives no refreshment. What Jane Austen had in some measure the gift of healing, her disciplined vitality exerts a soothing power. There is some light reading acceptable to none but invades, and yet it is looking in all medical quality. Jane Austen does not doing her readers, but she supplies them with a tonic. There is a distinction between a tonic and daily food, and it is no means certain that she can be accounted a giver of bread. Nevertheless, it sometimes happens that we need tonic to restore our appetite for plain At times like there, when the mental taste is offended, Miss Austen's novels are remarkable affections. Jane Austen was eminently fitted to take her place in the age of transition. While she helped to keep alive the former excellence, she did nothing to really retard the process of new birth. In the midst of a period restless, curious, and impatient, she preserved her faith in moderation and discipline. Quiet writing such as hers must have had a studying effect upon a headstrong and not blooded generation. Without effort and extension of visible influence she gave to her world what is most required an example of reserve and order's serenity. Jane Austen is a classical in more than one sense. Her style is classical, its simplicity in sureness of touch and in delicacy of its spirit. Her attitude and approach to life are classical by temperament and training. She belonged to her oyster and so did 18th century. She shared with the classical poets and prose writers the quality of art and satire. In an age which is visionary in fanciful, austere, and mystic, she is worldly matter of fact and realistic. Calm and cold, she remains untroubled by the turmoil of French Revolution and Napoleonic Wars. Perhaps the most perfect artist of the period, Jane Austen, belongs to the pre-Romantic age. She is the fine flower of the expiring 18th century.